playlist ya rona ya today. Yes. It's doing the things. Beats by hand. Featuring Kali Mija, Gypsy Woman. She's homeless. I don't know, for some reason today the song slaps different. I think it's because of you. Makgotso, yes, Miss M. So she was born in the east and then moved to the west, east of Joburg, that is, Alberton, and west as in the UK. You went all the way to Brighton. So you left Mzansi at the age of 11.
Yeah.
So if you don't know who we're hanging out with this morning in studio, can't really wait to visit the website and see. So this young lady, you're a phenomenal actress, by the way.
Thank you, Dineo.
Your performance skills are incredible. I enjoyed you the most on that series that really took Tusombedu to the next level.
It's Tunzi.
Girl, on his Tunzi.
It was very it was an interesting experience as well with Tunzi, because I do feel like there were some spiritual things that went down. It's so weird. Acting is weird.
Yes, yeah, I can believe you. I can believe you.
It's like you're emotionally involved, spiritually, physically.
No, there was something about that production also, that story.
It was
guys'
based off of
performance.
it was based off of true story.
Yeah.
Each girl was based off of a real story. Amanda Lane actually did the research.
Yeah. Amanda Lane is brilliant though.
Yeah. And I love Amanda Lane, and maybe people were like, what? A white lady wrote that? But she actually did her research, not assuming anything, asking us questions and stuff. So yeah.
So listen, when you left Mzansi, you left at the age of 11. I mean, you were grown enough to know that you're moving to a different part of the world.
Yeah.
So you weren't like, oh, what's going on? Oh, my God.
Yeah.
What was the reason for the move? And were you an only child by that stage?
No. So my mother has my sister and I.
Yeah.
And so my mom is a nurse, a theatre nurse by profession. So she got a job. In early 2000s, especially, the Brits were taking a lot of South African nurses and teachers and taking them that side. And my mom saw it as an opportunity. To better the lives of her children.
Yeah.
So myself, my sister, and my older cousin Ngobile, because my aunt, her mother, passed away. And then after passing away, we all moved with my mom to the UK.
What I find fascinating is I was in England a few months ago and I met South Africans and Zimbabweans who've been there for 2 weeks and they've got accents in it.
Yeah.
But you don't have one at all.
Do you know what? The funny thing is it comes out randomly. So if I'm talking to my sister, Penny, you're right, Penny, or I'm talking to my friends that side, and I also think it's a survival thing, because when I first moved to England, I hated it with a passion. I was like, I don't want to sound like them, but eventually your tongue adapts. But I really held on for dear life because of how much I hated it.
I love the British accent.
But it changes. It enters depending on who I'm speaking
Yes,
with. Not
makes
looking at
sense.
Zenzi's.
Yes, that's
I use
natural.
Zenzi's, but now, because when I went back, I was in England now, and everyone was like, "Oh no, you sound best South African,"
That's a fun now. When you move spies, woman Pakistan, hey my friend, I want this one.
Honestly,
give me this one, mama.
Panda 250 cents.
So then,
you're like, hey bro.
Yeah.
I like the British accent though. I'll take the British accent any day over the American accent. I'll take the British
such
accent.
a hard accent to learn.
I love it. I absolutely love it. Yeah, the American, it's just too many rollings of R's. So the British accent and the Nigerian accent for me, top Togozile, they do it.
And the Caribbean, like Jamaica.
Yeah, the Caribbean. Oh my God, that Rihanna Barbados accent is gorgeous. Yeah. Okay, fantastic. So you were clearly headed for success.
I always knew what I wanted, and from a young age, I always knew that, I wanted to perform. I won a pageant in primary school in Albertview, and I thought, maybe I can. I went to Albertview Primary School.
To Glenview.
Shout out, and then I didn't grow tall.
Yeah, no, you didn't. Evidently, it just stopped at some point.
It stopped. I stopped growing at 11. So
you were that house plant that we all thought was gonna get.
Everyone thought I was gonna be tall. I've got long fingers and toes, and my mom was like, because my dad's tall, and I just didn't grow. But I still loved performing, so I went to performing arts clubs growing up.
Yeah, see, you were accepted at the prestigious National Youth Theatre.
Yeah,
this is where you completed a course.
Yes.
And it ended with what?
Yes, it just ends with you having a certificate. So it's a summer course that every young thespian wants to be a part of, in a sense, and I got to do that. And you learn, and you take that with you, and
The M in Makgotso is Munya. Please,
Munyamuratu.
Munyamuratu.
What language is that?
It's Bedi.
Bedi.
Yes.
Are you Bedi?
My dad is Bedi, so half Bedi, half Zulu.
Okay.
Yeah.
Bedi.
Yeah.
Munyamuratu. Do you know what it means?
No, I have no idea.
Can we find out?
I tried. Please, I tried to find out. And before, because I didn't grow up with my dad, right?
It sounds so Shona. It sounds like
Yeah, and apparently there's a whole island, Epohoma, because my father's from Limpopo, Epohomi, and there's like a village of Abantu, Abomonyemuratu.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never knew. I just recently found out as well. And I'm asking my father more questions about my heritage and stuff now that I've reconciled with him.
I'm going to be a complete girl. I hear everything you're saying. Your earrings are everything I want
Thank you.
them. Oh,
so they're actually from my friend Kenke. She has her own line called...
Is that your friend's line?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm buying. I'm supporting 100%.
And,
jewelry and stuff. So cute. Absolutely cute. So listen, let me tell you what else is cute. The kids that are going to call us on the flip side of the news. 959 Breakfast Champs. We are hanging out with Auntie Makgotso. There we go. Uncle Sol, Auntie Dineo. You give us a call. Ask us tough questions. Buster 929 and Buhle. 18 minutes after 7. Got a quick detour to traffic with Sol Phenduka coming back with Makgotso M. You just mentioned off air content from a gentleman whose brain I would lick over and over again. He's incredible. I feel all children, all human beings must subscribe to Jordan Peterson.
I do.
Cannot believe you are of that content. I can't believe you find that. And I actually can believe it, actually.
Yeah.
I
think because I had such a strange relationship with men in general, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I don't prescribe to like men are trash and, I don't like that stuff.
Yeah.
But I did have a very like strange, relationship from my father and just looking at like a lot of us come from single parent homes and stuff. And then, so in my mind, I was just like, masculinity, patriarchy, they're just devils. And, you sort of have that,
us.
And then I listened to someone like, Jordan Peterson. And it was like, it encourages for critical thinking.
100%.
And not to just look at things from like,
a one-dimensional perspective.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He mentions so many interesting points. So many.
I love that you enjoy Jordan Peterson's content because really critical thinking, that's what it should be. I mean, you have to look at things from a 360 dimension.
You have to. And I just feel like men in general, because I realized that in the tension that I have towards my dad or men in general, you know what I mean? I realized that actually there's not enough outreach programs for young boys and men.
No, there's not. There's not a lot of sensitivity towards male beings.
Yeah,
100%.
Not. And it's going to affect us because how can you have all these empowered females and disempowered men? It's just the imbalance is
a huge imbalance. Oh my gosh.
It's going to be so big.
Love your words, your brain. I like the wire.
Yeah, we have to think.
You did say earlier on that you and your dad recently reconciled.
Yeah.
How did that come about? Who started it? And have you seen the benefits of just you and your dad being good with each other?
Yeah, there are definite benefits. I started that journey, and I realized that there's a generational gap, so to speak.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, it's quite simple. What he should have done and should have been. It's so simple. And then when you talk to him, you sort of have to understand the social context of the time, politically, what was deemed as acceptable and not,
what the influences were.
And the influences were at the time.
The traumas.
Yeah, that they deal with. And we don't consider those things, And so I just allowed myself, rather than just to be like, you were never there for me, just to sit down and hear what he says, to be okay with the fact that we're gonna disagree. It's okay. And this is my dad, and accept him for the man that he is. And this is me as well. I'm trying to find a balance, but I think it's important to hear there. And it's like, he's actually not such a monster that I thought.
It's so beautiful to hear one expressing empathy towards another, and trying to understand where they stem from.
Yeah. Especially because my mom is a GBV, survivor type of thing. So it's just like, you hurt my mom. There's all, you just view them as devils. And I sat down with my dad and spoke with him. And I'm like, he's a person with emotions 100%. And feelings. And
100%. I mean, when it comes to GBV, it angers me 100%. It angers me a lot.
Yeah.
I'm not forgiving when it comes to domestic violence. I don't see why things have to get violent. But you have to learn to kind of also heal from it, right?
Yeah, and ask yourself why. And in asking why, hopefully coming up with solutions. Because now, the thing about cancel culture, which is so jarring, is that people will say, this is what you said in 2001, when it wasn't a problem to say that. You have to look at the environment at the time, and people evolve,
100%.
And they change, and it's so
100%.
unfair to crucify someone for something that they said 10 years ago on Twitter. I think it's ridiculous.
Definitely on the air with Makgotso M. So I want to get personal.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm not going to be apologetic about it because we've already started.
Yes.
You know, we're talking about your very personal views, which I respect quite a lot. I enjoy conversations with a critical thinker.
Yeah.
Really, I do. You've had some great and not so great experiences in romance, right? You've had a relationship with an emotionally abusive person who was a gaslighter, quite manipulative. Sure, you've healed from that? You've grown stronger from that?
And it's so weird because even at the time, you don't necessarily see it as that, you know. But then when the person was like to me, if it wasn't for your agent, you wouldn't be where you are. You know what I mean? Like there's nothing special about
trying to kill your confidence.
Yeah, trying to kill my
crazy.
And then the same day, like he takes me to a restaurant and we walk and then he sees his friends and he holds my hand.
Of course, that's what they do.
I don't understand that, you know. But again, looking in hindsight, when you look back, I'm like, no, that person is hurting. That person was not in the right space. You know what I mean? They actually, I know this, I'm not trying to sound like I've got, what do you call this, Stockholm syndrome, or anything like that. Or saying that the person is an abuser. But like, you know, hurt people, you 100%. know? And I'm sure I've also did things to that person that was hurtful to them as well. And I can recognize that. But also it's just like, yeah, you know, not sort of painting.
Did you ever trauma bond with him? Do you think you've ever formed a trauma bond with him where at the beginning of the relationship it was you guys talking about things that were painful to you and you created...
Yeah, you open up...
You open up everything. It's weird, right?
You open up and you cry. And it was actually even before I broke into the industry. And he was encouraging me. He was lovely. And then it's just like... Oh my gosh, as well. But as I said, I mean, I'm not all innocent in the whole situation and stuff. And I'm sure he's a better person for it as well.
I can only hope so.
I can only hope so. You know what I mean? And I also just want to be better as well. Because I do come from an abusive household. And even though I can't remember what that is, you know, it's so weird when you go to therapy and you're like, actually, I've got this temper and I don't know where it comes from, you know? Because... You start to explore certain things in the hopes of breaking those generational curses.
Do you think you've broken your generational curses?
Not all the way, but I'm trying to. I'm like, I think just trying to be a better person every single day, you know? Yeah, because as I said, you know.
What are the things that you crucify yourself the most for? Outside of being an actor, and because you know when you're acting, you're occupying a certain character, right? And obviously you pour yourself into that, and then that's that you knock off, and then you still have to come home to the real you. Yeah, you still have to face the real you. Yeah. Are there things about the real you that you've beaten yourself up for? That you've struggled to get over, like, oh my gosh, I need to forgive myself for this now. It's really creating blockages.
Actually, I started going to therapy, and my therapist actually was like, you've got this self-critical voice in your head. You're always so hard on yourself, you know, about, I should have done this better. I wish I did this better. And rather than doing that, she just told me, if you do something that you don't like, just ask yourself why, rather than just beating yourself about it, because we all do that, and it doesn't help, you know, because you just have this guilt and shame, and that's not helpful. You know, it's like, okay, I did this, I'm not proud of it, and how can I make a better decision next time? And especially me, Miss Tempa, she's like, okay, Makgotso, how can we diffuse that? Before it gets there, can you diffuse situations? And
see, I find it interesting that you acknowledge that you have a temper, right?
Yeah, I do.
There are people that have a temper and they cannot control it. They go all the way in and they like cause damage.
But you know what she says, then you diffuse. See, that's
so how do you diffuse yours?
So before it gets there. So for me, it's like, okay, if we are, like, let's say you're dating someone and you see we don't know violent, and the day they must never, or I know that my anger won't allow me to let this one go. So how do you diffuse? You walk away before it gets to that point where now, because when you're angry, it almost, like, I don't know, anger is not you're temporarily like demon possessed or something. And so before it gets there, it's just about self-awareness and recognizing what your triggers are, and breathing helps as well.
100%.
You've been through a lot, but I mean, I think you've done so well, especially recently.
In your
Woman
career.
King with Tusum Bedu. You were in a film called, and these are international films, Survive, with Sophie Turner, who's married to one of the Jonas brothers. What else can we expect from you?
Do you know what? I have like a few projects coming up, but I haven't signed my contracts, but they are South African projects.
Beautiful.
I do love acting at home. It's just that I'm just not getting work in South Africa. But like, I love acting in general. And even me coming from England back to South Africa, it's because this is where I first fell in love with the craft, you know. So there's 2 projects on the line for early next year, a movie and a series. But I just want to sign first.
Good, of course, do that.
Because guys, I'm in this movie.
And
you know, in this industry that happens, you know, you get promised some. I mean, that's just life, I guess.
Always,
yeah.
Woman King, great experience.
It was a lovely experience.
Yeah.
It was a learning experience as well.
Yeah.
It was dope to act alongside John Boyega. Yeah, because he's like Undangayami and he's doing so well and it's so inspiring.
Yeah.
I got to act alongside Zozi and Thando Ntomo as well.
Yeah.
And it was a great rapport. And just on set, like just the levels, you know what I mean? The effort that's put in. It was really cool.
Well, you're a cool person. We like you.
Super cool.
We like you a lot. Thank you so much for starting your day on 959.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. You're welcome. You are such a your spirit, your mind, your conduct of yourself, your processing. You're nice.
Thank you.
You're enjoyable, 100%.
Thank
All the
you so
best with your career and everything.
Thank you.
It's 7:30.